Imagine you are standing on the floor of like a massive multi-billion-dollar manufacturing plant.
Oh, yeah. The scale of those places is just unbelievable.
Right. And everywhere you look, there are sensors. I mean, the company knows the exact temperature of the boilers. They know the literal millisecond a turbine goes
They've got
offline.
everything wired up.
Exactly. They even know the name of the technician dispatched to fix it, how long it took them to walk across the facility, what time they logged out. It feels like total absolute visibility.
Yeah, it really does.
We have built this incredible web of data around the operation of heavy industry, but, and this is the crazy part, the second that human technician actually steps up to the broken valve, puts their hands on the steel, and starts working, the system just goes completely blind.
It totally does.
We track the machine, we track the schedule, but we have absolutely no record of the physical human expertise that actually solves the problem.
And it is the ultimate illusion of control. I mean, we have spent decades building enterprise software that perfectly orchestrates everything surrounding the work.
Right.
But the actual work itself, that complex physical execution by a master technician, that just remains a total black box.
It's totally invisible.
Yeah. The software knows a job was done, sure, but it has no idea how it was done.
And that black box is exactly what we are cracking open today. It is June 29, 2026, and our deep dive today is focused on a brand new press release and a white paper titled "The Lane Nobody Runs In."
Great title, honestly.
It really is. So these come out of Irvine, California and Singapore from a company called EON AI Ventures. And they are launching an entirely new category of enterprise software today, which they call work intelligence.
Work intelligence.
Right.
So the core mission for us today, for you listening, is to understand how this technology is finally creating a true system of record for how physical work is actually performed by the absolute best experts in a company. Yeah. And the central thesis here, it really requires a fundamental shift in how we think about what software is actually supposed to track.
How so?
Well, for years, as you mentioned with the factory floor, software has only tracked logistics. It has never tracked expertise. So EON's proposition is that you can finally capture this expertise, the literal muscle memory of your best workers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you could do it without forcing a Fortune 500 company to rip out all their existing software, which is huge.
Okay, let's unpack this because the stakes here are massive.
Yeah.
To really grasp the value of work intelligence, we first have to look at the spectacular failure of the status quo on that factory floor.
Yeah, the current state of things.
Exactly. We are talking about the connected worker movement. I mean, over the last 15 years, heavy industry has spent over $1 billion, trying to get frontline work off paper clipboards and onto digital devices.
And, I mean, they succeeded in digitizing the paper, certainly. If you walk onto a modern offshore oil rig or a chemical plant today, you will absolutely see technicians carrying ruggedized iPads or wearable displays.
Right. They look like they're from the future.
Exactly. But consider what happens to the data they generate. It just ends up in managerial dashboards that summarize events.
Oh, right.
The dashboard says task A was completed at 2:00 p.m. by John. It summarizes the logistics, but the organization learns absolutely nothing about the physical reality of how task A was completed.
Like the actual steps he took.
Yes. If John struggled with a corroded bolt for 20 minutes and had to use a highly specific, expert technique to bypass it safely, that knowledge just vanishes the second his shift ends.
It's just gone. It's a system of record for the schedule, not the skill. And the chairman of EON AI Ventures, Dan Ledgerskart, he has a quote in the press release that perfectly nails this failure.
Oh, yeah, the logistics quote.
Yeah. He points out that current tools just run the logistics of who goes where and when. Your field service platform dispatches the technician, the workforce management system schedules their shift, and these billion-dollar connected worker apps just pop a static instruction PDF onto their screen.
Right, just a PDF.
It's like a world-class restaurant having a $1 million reservation system that knows exactly when every single diner arrives. It tracks their dietary restrictions, it seats them perfectly, but the system itself has absolutely no idea how to actually cook the food.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
It's crazy, right?
What's fascinating here is that the reason this gap exists is that digitizing logistics is fundamentally just a math problem.
Okay.
It's scheduling algorithms and routing efficiency, which honestly we solved a long time ago.
Yeah, true.
But digitizing human physical expertise, that is an entirely different beast.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, how do you capture spatial awareness? How do you record the situational judgment of a veteran mechanic who intuitively knows just by this specific vibration of a compressor that a pressure valve needs, like an extra quarter turn?
You can't just put that in a spreadsheet.
Exactly. That kind of tactile environmental reality has always defied standard software categories. So EON calls this the missing lane because enterprise IT has completely bypassed the physical reality of the frontline worker.
Which means we need to look at how EON is actually attempting to capture that reality. Because, I mean, you can't just slap a GoPro on a worker's hard hat and call it a system of record.
No, definitely not.
Raw video is just a massive file sitting on a server. It doesn't feed into a database in any searchable or useful way.
Right, it's just dead data.
Exactly. So to solve this, EON have built what they call the intelligence flywheel. Because current systems only track the who and when, this closed-loop flywheel is designed specifically to capture the how.
Yeah, and the flywheel is broken down into 3 distinct phases.
Okay, let's hear them.
So you have Genesis, Field IQ, and Assess IQ. The first phase, Genesis, is arguably where they clear the most significant technical hurdle of the last decade.
That's a big claim.
It really is. The goal of Genesis is to build a behaving, interactive 3D digital twin of both the equipment and the procedure itself.
Wait, hold on. I have to play the skeptic here on behalf of anyone listening who has ever dealt with industrial 3D modeling.
Go for it.
I'm looking directly at the white paper, and it claims that Genesis builds these behaving 3D twins from ordinary photographs and existing procedural text with, quote, no CAD and no 3D team required.
Yep.
I've seen energy companies spend literally millions of dollars hiring armies of 3D modelers to build digital twins of their facilities.
Oh, it's notoriously expensive.
Yeah. And they usually need the original engineering CAD files, which are incredibly complex. You're telling me EON replaces an entire engineering department with a few iPhone photos?
I know it sounds like magic, but it is actually a massive leap in spatial computing AI.
Okay, explain that.
Historically, if a company didn't have the original computer-aided design files for a piece of machinery, which they almost never do for,
Right.
like a legacy pump installed 20 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Those blueprints are probably in a filing cabinet somewhere.
Exactly. So creating a 3D digital twin was prohibitively expensive. You had to manually model every single bolt. But Genesis bypasses this using advanced AI depth mapping.
Depth mapping.
Yeah, it takes standard 2D photographs, and the AI analyzes the shadows, the angles of the pipes, and the way structural elements overlap. It uses those visual cues to calculate depth and geometry, and then instantly stitches them together into a highly accurate 3D mesh.
Wow. Just from pictures.
Yeah. The AI acts as the spatial calculator, entirely removing the need for human 3D modelers. And by eliminating that bottleneck, they make digitizing the physical environment scalable for the first time.
So instead of a static multi-million-dollar CAD model that takes 6 months to build, you have a 3D environment generated almost instantly from the real world.
That's the idea.
But, you know, a model is just an environment. That brings us to part 2 of the flywheel, Field IQ. This is the application that actually takes that 3D twin and overlays it onto the real equipment to guide the worker.
Right, out in the field.
Yeah. And importantly, it is a two-way street. It guides the worker, but it also captures how the worker is executing the job in real time.
And that feedback loop is the critical element here. Because once Field IQ captures that execution data, the process moves to the third phase, Assess IQ.
Okay, what does that do?
This system takes the captured physical data and actually verifies the demonstrated competence of the worker.
Oh, wow. Like a test.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Ask the structural questions. Did they follow the safety protocols? Did they execute the complex steps in the correct physical sequence? Because this is a true closed-loop flywheel, the intelligence actually compounds with every single job.
Oh, I see.
Every time a 30-year veteran worker performs a complex maintenance task, the system learns and refines the optimal, safest way to do it.
And there is a massive detail hidden in the presentations regarding corporate security.
Oh, the data ownership, yes.
Yeah. All of this captured intelligence, the physical expertise of an energy company's best workers, remains wholly owned by the enterprise itself.
Which is so important. In the current landscape of artificial intelligence, data sovereignty is just non-negotiable.
Yeah, nobody wants to give up their data.
Exactly. A massive publicly traded energy company cannot and will not upload its proprietary safety procedures and physical workflows into a public cloud where, a generative AI model might just absorb them.
Right, because if they use a public model, they risk indirectly training a competitor's system.
Precisely. EON explicitly architected this so that the intelligence generated by the flywheel is a proprietary asset of the enterprise. The company owns its physical data just as fiercely as it owns its financial data.
But, okay, capturing 3D spatial data of a worker doing a job creates a completely new mind-bending headache. I mean, the software actually has to understand what it is looking at.
Right, it can't just be blind video.
Yeah. We all have high-definition cameras on our phones that can record a video of an engine, but the phone doesn't know it's looking at a carburetor. It just sees a collection of pixels.
Exactly.
If EON is replacing human verification, the AI has to move from just recording visual steps to fundamentally understanding the mechanics of the work.
And they solved this problem by intentionally limiting the AI,
Yeah.
which is honestly a brilliant counterintuitive strategy.
Limiting it.
Yeah. The underlying engine, EON Universal, it does not try to learn everything about everything. Instead of being an infinite, open-ended model, it is trained on a highly specific, bounded vocabulary.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Specifically, it learns roughly 50 core equipment classes. And these classes are mapped directly to the petroleum industry's incredibly strict ISO 14224 taxonomy.
Okay, for those of you who aren't deep in the weeds of oil and gas standards, ISO 14224 is the international gold standard for reliability and maintenance data.
It is the Bible for this stuff.
Yeah, it provides a very rigid hierarchy. From the facility level down to the specific equipment class like a compressor, down to the maintainable component like a rotor. So EON restricts the AI to only thinking within this specific standard.
And by restricting the AI to that ISO standard, they basically eliminate the hallucination problem that plagues most modern AI.
Oh, that makes sense.
The white paper uses a fantastic analogy for this. It compares it to teaching the AI the actual words and grammar of a language, instead of making it blindly memorize a phrasebook.
Okay, I like that.
Because the AI truly understands the core definitions of these 50 equipment classes, it fundamentally knows the physical properties of a pump, a valve, a flange. It can recognize those components on site in the real world.
Just from looking at them.
Right. And because it understands the basic building blocks, it can mentally compose and understand entire industrial facilities it has never actually seen before.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's like standard AI is a tourist dropped in Tokyo with a translated phrasebook, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They can repeat a specific sentence, but if you ask them a unique question, they just freeze.
Totally lost.
But this AI is like hiring a local engineer who only knows the subway system. They can't talk to you about art or food, but they understand the mechanics of the transit grid so deeply they could build a brand new station from scratch.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that deep mechanical understanding completely changes the nature of the software.
Kind of mean.
It stops being a fancy digital training manual, and it becomes an active participant on the factory floor. Because the AI understands the physical reality and the physics of these components, it can actually author conditional procedures that branch out dynamically based on live, highly dangerous conditions.
Wait, we're talking about real-time environmental hazards here, like residual pressure in a blocked pipe or stored electrical energy in a circuit breaker.
Exactly. In heavy industry, a static, linear checklist will literally get you killed. If a technician opens a valve and there is a sudden, unexpected pressure differential, the instructions need to instantly adapt to that new physical reality. A system that can dynamically branch its instructions based on the sudden presence of stored energy that isn't just a record keeper, it becomes an active safety partner on the floor because it genuinely understands the physics of the danger it is looking at.
That is wild. It's not just a PDF saying, step 4, turn wrench.
No.
The AI is actually saying, step 4, turn wrench. But wait, if you hear a hiss of escaping gas, abandon this workflow instantly and switch to this entirely different set of emergency isolation protocols because I recognize a pressure anomaly in this specific ISO classified valve.
Exactly.
It adapts because it knows the physics of the environment.
It understands the world of the equipment rather than just processing the words in a manual.
Wow. But, as mind-blowing as an AI that understands physical physics is, we need to bring this back down to the boardroom reality.
Sure.
This technology is completely useless if the chief information officer refuses to install it. I mean, enterprise IT departments passionately hate disruption.
Oh, they despise it.
Right. If you walk into a Fortune 500 company and tell them they need to replace their global SAP or Salesforce deployments to run your new 3D work intelligence software, security will literally escort you out of the building.
You wouldn't make it past the lobby.
Exactly. And this is where EON's integration strategy is arguably the smartest part of the entire announcement.
It is fiercely pragmatic. EON made a deliberate architectural choice here.
Yeah.
They do not replace existing platforms.
They don't.
No, they're not trying to usurp a company's ERP, their customer relationship management systems, or their product lifecycle management software. Work intelligence is explicitly designed to sit quietly in the background and just complement them.
The press release outlines exactly how this data flows. So the standard text-based work orders trigger in the systems companies already use, the heavy hitters, like SAP, Oracle, IBM Maximo, ServiceNow, Workday. The work order flows in to EON from those standard connectors. EON then translates that boring text into the rich 3D-guided physical world for the technician out in the field.
And then they do the work.
Exactly. The technician does the work safely, and then EON sends the completion status and the verification file back into those original systems.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah, Mr. Lajoskar has a quote here that sums up the pitch perfectly. He says, ERP takes words. We take worlds. The customer keeps every system they already own.
Which completely neutralizes the biggest objection any IT buyer has.
Yeah, so if I'm a factory manager using SAP, EON is basically just sitting quietly in the background. It takes my text-based work order, turns it into a 3D world for my tech, and then just hands a digital thumbs up back to SAP.
That's exactly the genius of the strategy. By running parallel to the existing systems, they lower the barrier to entry to almost zero. They take the text, turn it into worlds, verify the physical work, and feed the data back. This is why the white paper is titled "The Lane Nobody Runs In." They aren't trying to run over the legacy systems. They built a brand new highway lane right next to them, dedicated exclusively to physical expertise.
You don't fight the ERP behemoths, you just make them exponentially more valuable by giving them a 3D physical brain.
Exactly.
But, okay, the ultimate test of any non-disruptive, highly advanced strategy like this is the market. Are actual industrial giants opening their checkbooks for this, or is it just a beautifully written theory?
Well, the source material is unequivocal on the market validation.
Okay, lay it on me.
EON's approach was subjected to extended, rigorous competitive evaluations by some of the most risk-averse, demanding buyers on the planet. And they have already been selected for massive deployments by two of the world's largest energy companies.
Really?
Yeah, specifically a U.S. supermajor and a national oil company.
And these deployments are active today. Like, this isn't a pilot program slated for 2028. They are live in the field right now.
Live, and at a scale that is honestly hard to overstate. One of these active deployments actually includes a mandate to build one of the largest oil and gas training centers in the entire world, acting as a mandatory precursor to field operations.
Wow.
Yeah, this energy company is using the work intelligence platform to verify that every single worker is completely competent in the behaving 3D digital twin before they are legally allowed to set foot on a real offshore rig.
Man, given the safety stakes we talked about earlier with dynamic pressure and stored energy verifying competence in a twin before touching the real metal is a total game changer.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's worth highlighting that EON didn't just incorporate last week to build this.
No, not at all.
They are leveraging a 25-year heritage in immersive technology. I mean, we are talking about over 4,400 institutional customers across 80 countries and over 136 million downloads of their previous platforms. They have been quietly laying the spatial computing groundwork for this exact moment for decades.
And all of which culminates in a highly specific worldview about the future of global business. Dan Lajoskar states in the release, quote, "The companies that move atoms will own the next era of value. The model layer is becoming a commodity."
So what does this all mean? The companies that move atoms. Let's dig into that distinction because it feels like a direct shot at the current hype cycle in Silicon Valley.
This raises an important question about where the tech industry is actually misallocating its focus.
Right.
Right now, nearly all venture capital is obsessed with generative AI that creates digital media. AI that writes text, AI that generates Python code, AI that makes images.
Sure, the ChatGPTs of the world.
Exactly. That is the model layer. And Lejerskar's argument is that this text-based AI is quickly racing to the bottom to become a cheap, ubiquitous commodity. In 5 years, every company on Earth will have an AI that can write a perfect marketing email or summarize a legal contract.
But not every company will have the captured, verified physical expertise to keep a nuclear power plant running or to, like, repair the turbine on a commercial jet.
Exactly the point. EON is betting their entire architecture on the idea that the real scarcity, the true defensible economic value of the next decade, is physical, real-world execution.
The atoms.
Yes, the companies that move atoms in the physical world, the companies operating in worlds rather than words, they will hold the ultimate leverage, but only if they can successfully capture and scale the expertise of their aging workforce.
The contrast is just staggering. I mean, from the illusion of control on the factory floor to the fundamental economic difference between moving words and moving atoms.
It's a huge shift.
To recap the journey we've taken on this deep dive for you guys listening.
Yeah.
We started with the billion-dollar failure of basic connected worker dashboards that track logistics but completely ignore human expertise.
Right.
Then we explored how EON's intelligence flywheel uses AI depth mapping to build 3D worlds from ordinary photos, completely bypassing the need for CAD engineers.
Which is still mind-blowing.
Seriously. And then we examine how their AI learns the strict bounds of the ISO 14224 taxonomy, allowing it to become an active safety partner that actually understands the physics of pressure and energy.
Yeah.
And finally, we saw how they deploy all of this silently in the background, feeding rich physical intelligence back into the SAP and Salesforce systems that companies already trust.
It really forces us to completely reevaluate what enterprise knowledge actually is.
Boy.
But there is one final implication to consider here, something that extends way beyond the immediate software architecture.
Okay, what is it?
Think about the demographic reality of heavy industry right now. The most skilled workers on the planet are nearing retirement age.
Right, the boomers are leaving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if EON's work intelligence successfully records, verifies, and compounds the physical expertise of these veteran workers into a permanent behaving 3D digital twin, what happens when those master human workers finally retire?
Oh, wow.
Their physical knowledge has been perfectly digitized. Does the enterprise's AI essentially become the new master craftsman?
That's heavy.
And if so, do the new, younger human hires stepping onto that factory floor essentially become apprentices to the digital ghosts of their predecessors?
Man, that is an incredible thought to leave on. When the software stops being blind to the physical world, the human expertise never actually leaves the building. It just becomes a permanent part of the environment. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning how the world works and stay curious.